Hey everyone, it's Ali Russell from Divine Miss Ruby Designs, and today I'm just going to show you how to change over some of the flowers in your kit. These are the most recent ones. Some of the flowers are slightly changed because suppliers don't have stock, whatnot, so I've had to improvise and order some new stuff. So this is your standard little buttercup kit, which is now retired, so the last of the orders are being sent out in the next week. In front of me here is, and it does come a lot neater than this, I've just thrown the last few things of white in. This is the Sweet Pea kit, and some people have asked, and I promised to do a video, but it has been on the list, but as you all realise, I've been flat out. So I have had someone push particularly to get it done. So I'm doing it now, and I'm just going to show you how you can change it over to use some of the flowers per kit. So, as most of you know, I'm a florist by trade. I did it for 8 years before photography and other things, and so I have a real love for a real passion for flowers as well as my photography. I don't use a lot of flowers in my photography, but I still love creating them for you guys. I love hot pink, orange, yellow and purple together, and have previously had it in my wedding bouquet. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and then I'm going to grab one of the nest props and show you how you can use those as well. So first of all, the previous ones, the ones who have these, there was some orange popcorn. They're like a rusty orange popcorn hydrangea. They're the ones I couldn't get, so they've actually got some extra roses and things in these new ones. So the first thing I would do, if you've got those orange popcorn hydrangea flowers, pull them out, because they're a real rusty colour and they're not going to give you that nice bright colourful feeling that we want. So pull those out. Then you're going to pull out all your white daisies. You can add these back in later and you might find that you'll mix and match different things, but this is just my advice. Pull them out at the base. Don't pull them by the head of the flower, because even though I have wired them for you, they can still pull out. So if you pull them at the base where they're put into the foam, then your flowers will last longer. Okay, so I'm just going to pull all of these out. Just pop them to the side. You can pop them back in your kit box, which has got that piece of those pieces of oasis in the bottom. Okay, these bits of greenery, because they've got such a thick stem, they're not actually wired in separately, they're actually just stuck in. So if you pull any of those out like I just did, I feel like I'm being like the dentist, you know, and I just pulled a head off. So just to show you, if you do pull a head off, generally you can pop it back on, but just be really careful of that. And just try and straighten the legs of them. Most of them should be straight. Other ones just popped off. I don't love my head, that's why you're probably only going to see the back of it. Okay, so all the daisies are out. So obviously we've got some gaps and whatnot as well. This may be the point too where you decide that you'd like to take out the orchids. The orchids are really pretty, but they are more of a mustard yellow. We certainly can try them with it in there and see if we like that. So we might do that first. First thing I'm going to do though is add in your purple hydrangea. Now this wreath's going to become a lot more full because we're only taking out bits and pieces. I would always leave in my berries and all my foliage. Things like your green hydrangeas, these roses in these particular ones are like a creamy green. I'd probably leave those in because they're just a nice neutral base. So I'm going to put in all of the purple hydrangeas first. Now you may need to bend it and place it, okay? But the idea is to try and keep your prongs together. I'm not going to put these in these massively big holes in here, because they're more for your feature flowers like your roses and whatnot. Okay, so you want your hydrangeas more to the side. Same thing, just bend them. And I tend to work in a way that's kind of inside, outside, inside, outside. Okay, just so you get a nice even mix of them. push them in nicely at the base. There's a rule with floristry, and if you have any of your own, you know, flowers at home, for those who haven't bought the kits, that's okay. You can still look on how I do everything. I have no problems with sharing stuff. What I would recommend is don't ever use odd, even numbers. When you use two of things, they appear to be two eyes. You know, you're always best to use threes. You can use sixes because you've still got lots of threes. Fives is good. So kind of threes, five, sixes or more. Because you just don't want to have, I've seen quite a lot of people will do five, but their flowers are really dominant and there's nothing colour-wise that blends it all in, so they still kind of stand out a lot. Or the sixes, so they really do look like the Star of David kind of triangle. So it's all about blending your colours so that you've got this nice harmony that works really nicely. And already, like this mauve with the orange and the yellow is kind of quite pretty. So I've got 3 left, so obviously I need to make sure that I'm spreading these out nicely. I might throw another one in this side because that one's only little. I'm pushing down right to the base, but you putting them in with the base of the flower. Don't push on the flower, you're actually pushing on the part that's actually wired. Okay, so I'm just bending the prong and then using my hands to push it in. And they're kind of perfect because we're kind of gone, you know. So we'll put another one here, but I might just move this green one out. I'll put this purple one here. Okay, so already we've got another different colour scheme before we start adding more deeper purples and things. So, you know, you could simply just stop with that and do that. There's another look altogether. So the next thing we're going to do is we're probably going to add in the purple Lisianthus. Now I'm realising I probably should have brought my cutters down and trimmed some of these down a bit more. I tried to leave them on a little bit longer for those who do use your nests and things, because you still need a little bit of length to be able to push them into your nests. If I cut them too short, then you know you're not going to have that length to play with. So same kind of thing is you just want to start filling them in, and look at that nice pop of purple. That one I can't do anything with unless I bring my scissors down. These are still okay lengths for me to push in, because you know you've got quite a bit of depth with that foam. Now the main thing is these bases I make out of another one, I'll have to get my scissors. I make these out of 2 foam bases. Everything I make here is out of proper florist material. Nothing is glued in, and the whole reason for that is so that you can pull things out and use them again. There are some wreaths on the market which popped up about 4 days after I released this that are glued to a base. Okay, you can't do anything with that except for deal with the flowers that are in it. The same kind of thing is I'm kind of working in and around. I'm hoping you can see everything here. I hope I position the camera in the right spot. And you're basically just going to fill in. As I said, this one's going to be really full because you know we're going to use quite a few flowers in here. And look, even again, we've got another new beautiful colour scheme with the deep purples in here too, which is really pretty. So imagine that on either a yellow base like we've got here, or you could do it on so many. You could do it on a mauve base. You could do it on anything really. Possibilities are endless. And that's why I designed the kits. So I wanted to do it in a way that fresh flowers are beautiful, but they can be very expensive. And the thing is, for some of us who are in regional areas, and I'm in a regional area here in Coffs Harbour, we don't have great access to markets or even flower markets, you know, where they're actually sold a bit cheaper. So for some of us to access flowers can be quite an expensive task. So you know, especially in some of those areas where you're already struggling to make a good profit on your photography, you know, adding those beautiful flowers, which people do love and we do love to add. I'm just going to add these 3 probably later when I put them in. Yeah, so I wanted to create something that, yes, a lot of people have said, wow, it's so expensive, $175. I can tell you right now, I don't make a cent out of my labour. Each one of these will take at least 2 to 2.5 hours to make, and you get that as my love, as my customer, for my customers, because if I was to cost it in, they would just be around about $250. It's just too expensive. But I buy excellent quality flowers, and I want them to look as real as possible in your setups, and also be good quality so that you can pull them out and rearrange them and whatnot, and use them over and over again in your setups. And if you store them well, store them in a bag, you know, that's dust free, but you know, if you tend to live somewhere where moisture's high, don't put them in a plastic bag where they'll sweat. Just keep them where the dust will stay off them, and you know, they will last a long time. Your bases eventually will fall apart, but I would imagine after quite a long time. And that's why you've still got to be really careful with placing them in, because at the end of the day it's still foam. It is wrapped, it's got wreath wrap on it, and that's to stop all the little bits of foam coming out. But at the end of the day it's a wreath base, and someday it will fall apart. But I know a lot of the girls have bought just the kits so that they can use in their other props, which is fine. So hopefully this will help you get inspired to use them maybe in some of your other props as well. I will do some more videos as time permits on some other setups you can do. So we've got a beautiful colour scheme now of the golds, oranges and purples and mauves, and that's delicious just there. We're going to start to bring in some mauves, so some pinky purples. So the supplier sent me a different colour sweet pea. I decided not to send it back because number one, time was a big factor, and number two, it still had the tones with the pinks and the purples that we wanted, so I've decided to use those. I hope everyone's okay with that. I wouldn't, if they didn't work colour wise, they would be going back to the supplier. So we're going to start adding this colour in, and look, this is going to change the whole colour scheme yet again. So you probably don't have as many as the Lisianthus, which are the dark purple flowers. If you're having problems putting it into the foam and you feel like it just won't go in, just check. There's probably a leaf covering the base, so you may just need to get your hand in there and move that leaf, or lift it up and put it aside. That should be really the only thing stopping it going in. But you know, because I do use foliage, and foliage is really important because it covers the bases too. Right. And I don't mind that, you know, they're not on the perfect level, because, well, if it was me doing floristry, they'd be a lot higher, a little bit different. But this gives a nice even finish too. There will be more colour schemes coming out. These guys are a big investment for me to bring out, and that's why I run them at the moment of pre-orders, because, you know, to do an outlay and is a couple of $1,000s in flowers for me. So with all the other products I'm trying to build up on the site, yeah, the pre-orders work better for me, just so that I can give you these beautiful products. And in time we may have more in stock and whatnot, but we'll just see how we go. So you've got another little bit of pinky purple, but you know, not too over the top. And this is where you can decide, okay, well, I really don't want, you know, I really don't want the orchids in there. I am going to pull them out. But we're going to leave it in there for now, because I want to get a really full book for you. I could have gone a slightly smaller, but I wanted to make sure we had a beautiful space in there for beautiful fluff and wool, and you know, you had a nice amount of room for a baby. Yes, it is a bigger prop, but yeah. So at this point I'm going to add the roses, because then I can fill with the little frangipanis. Okay, so I'm looking for my spaces. I don't mind that I've got a rose next to a rose. And I really like these because they're a really nice full rose. And same thing again, this is 5. So to work out where, you've got to imagine in your head where the 5 are going to be placed. So, and this is where you might decide, okay, well I'm going to need to pull that out there to make room for, you know, the flowers, to make them, I mean, you're not pushing them in yet, but that just gives you an idea of, to make them evenly spaced so they don't look, you know, unbalanced. Just sit them in the top, and then you can just move what you need to and then add things back in. So for me, I'm going to push this little guy, because they're all on wires. You can just kind of bend them at the base to try and get them where you want, and just push them in. This one here, I've got a little bit of room, so I should do that. And I'm pushing in with my finger there. I'm just holding the rows in the centre, just, you know, for a bit of stability. And then you can just move your other flowers around a bit. This one here, I've got a bit of a crowded space, so I'm going to move this yellow frangipani, and I'm just going to pop it more off the edge there, and creating a better space for my rose to then go in. These are a bit sturdier too. These roses though, they're a little bit different to these ones. These ones are pushed in, they're like a plastic coated wire. These ones actually have a soft spongy, so I didn't actually have to wire these because their stems were heavy enough to be able to push straight into the foam, whereas these ones you couldn't. They just had like this spongy rubber outing, and it just didn't work. So they're wired a little bit differently. Okay, so they're all in. And isn't that delicious? What a beautiful colour combination. I'm hoping you can see. I'm just going to jump up so I can see that everything's in view. Everything looks pretty good. Okay, so, you know, at this point, what a gorgeous colourful setup for a baby girl. So now I'm going to feed in some of your frangipanis. And you may decide that you do or don't want this pink in. Sometimes these are more, these are probably the cheaper flowers of the lot, but it's more just as a fill, just to still give you those little pops of colour. There's about 9 or 10 of these in each kit. It's just to fill in those spots. And if you wanted to, you could add the white back, but I just think it's, I mean, if you're doing an Easter setup, the white daisies would be really pretty. But I think let's just keep it nice and bold and colourful. Okay, so I'm going to put another one in there. And look, this will take a bit of practice. Remember, I did this 8 years straight, so you know this was my profession, and if there was any money to be made, and I'd still be doing it. But I still love flowers. I think there's something God made that's just truly, I don't know, amazing in nature. Something that makes you happy in a very natural, easy way. You know, flowers always make me smile, that's for sure. Okay, so I'm just looking, I've got one more space here, and I might just push it there just for the sake of it. And that's where, if you wanted to, you could add these back in. I'm not going to because there's enough flowers in there now. So, out of that, there's still quite a bit of foliage and whatnot. There's actually 3 more Lisianthus sitting over here as well. Plus all your daisies. You know, you just push them back into the foam in the box, and you can store everything away in the box nicely. So I'll just get some wool, and you can see how it kind of comes to life. So now this backdrop looks pretty gross because it's too dull, but on the yellow it worked perfectly. So let's have a look here. Yes, it certainly helps being in a prop shop to have nice things on hand. So this is the Samantha, and if you've never used our fleeces before, give them a go. I love them. Lots of people love them. They've been one of our biggest sellers this year. And without all your wonderful purchases, all the other things that we're doing right now wouldn't be, you know, possible. So these particular ones are a little bit different to our other ones. These are a lot longer, but they're a little bit thinner, and they're not quite as wide. So for those who've got our other ones, you'll know there's about 4 meters, I think, in these ones. They're about $30. If a baby poos or wheezes on them, you just pull that little bit off. It comes off really easy. I'll find an end. And you just discard the mess. You can roll it back in a ball to store it. It's probably easy. Or some people, if you're doing little pieces, just put them in a Ziploc bag and keep them aside, and then keep the bigger bits rolled up. I'll just get another place. This one I'm bringing over is, I'm trying to think if this is Hyacinth. So this is one of the other range that we sell. These ones are $25. They're around about, most of them that'll come to you, they now come rolled in a ball. They're a lot smaller, but it's just come for me as a space thing, as you can understand. These ones are around anywhere between 8 and 12, 14 inches wide. They're a little bit thicker, but they're only 2 meters long. They're just a different company, but they also have beautiful blends. So you can get beautiful purples, and it's got flecks of pink and things in it as well. And you know, you might marry it up with a nice, just looking for a wrap that might work. My purpley ones look like they're in the wash. You might marry that up with a nice wrap, or keep your base fairly simple where Bubby is, with a nice wrap, and make it pop with a nice tie back or headband. Try not to go, my biggest advice for you, and I see this a lot, you have such a beautiful coloured base here, don't add too many colours in the centre. Find your strongest colour. So let's go purple. Purple is a really strong colour here, or the pink, and run with that. Put baby in, pose baby, and then accent your tie back or your bonnet or your wrap. Try not to get all the colours in there, because you've already got them here and they're repeated perfectly, so they already blend. Okay, so I'll stop there for now, and we will have another pre-order after the Baby Summit. I can't take on any more work at the moment for more of the kits, and we will also have a new spring colour kit coming out as well. It's the aim is to actually have it released at the Baby Summit, so we'll see how we go. So hopefully that's helped you with how you can use the kits, and maybe inspired to get a bit floral in your work. Okay, thanks.